Hello and welcome to Short and Sweet Revision. We haven't made a video for a while, and this one, go to the next page, is all about much ado about nothing. So this is a revision video ready for, well, the controlled assessment which we do in our school. So today I'm going to be looking at characters and theme. I'm going to be investigating the relationships in the play and the significance. Okay, there's so much you could cover when you're looking at the characters, but this is just to give you a rough idea for your revision. Okay, so the first thing to note about this play is that it's a romantic comedy, and Shakespearean romantic comedies usually centre around love and involve stylised sets of lovers sorting out their problems. So the idea being that there's always going to be a happy ending, it's going to end in a wedding, but there'll be something that happens along the way to kind of upset the balance, but things always end well. Okay, so unlike the tragedy, say, of Romeo and Juliet, where things are not going to work out well, a romantic comedy has to end well. So in this one, the characters form a miniature society within themselves. So all the action takes place in Leonato's house, and there's like a structure and hierarchy. So it reflects society. Okay, it's like a microcosm. All the action takes place away from the world of court, finance, and business. And it's all focused on love and just the relationships between them. Domesticity. Okay. Another thing to note about the stylisation of the lovers is that Claudio and Hero, although this is an original work by Shakespeare, they seem to follow sort of the pattern of some of the other romantic couples. So Shakespeare probably will have read Edmund Spenser, who wrote an epic poem, and it had two lovers in there called Carabella, who was killed by her duped lover, so someone that was tricked, which we're guessing would have been Claudio. So there's a resemblance to some other romantic lovers there. So the title, so we're thinking about what it means. Much ado about nothing could literally mean a lot of fuss about nothing, which again, if we think about what happens in the play, it's all about misunderstanding. It ends well in the end, but there's all this misunderstanding, so it's all this fuss about nothing. Or it could also be linked to the word nothing. So in Shakespearean times, it could have been pronounced noting. Again, a lot of the action takes place on people sort of observing things, misconceptions, misunderstandings, and without this, then there would be no plot to it. So it's all about seeing each other and misreading the signals. So let's have a look at the characters now. So we have the Prince of Aragon, Don Pedro, and we have his bastard brother, Don John. Okay, so the play opens with Leonato, the governor of Messina, receiving word that a group of young noblemen led by Don Pedro plan to pay a visit to his home. Don Pedro is victorious in battle and plans on celebrating. So they're going to, Leonato actually asked them to stay for a month. He's recently reconciled with his bastard half-brother after a long disagreement. And there's actually hints in the play that this war that has taken place could have been between the two of them. So Don John, if you've watched any adaptation of this play, you'll see that his character is always very moody, on the outskirts of all the action. And although he essentially is quite a one-dimensional character, without him, there's no plot, because he's the one that kind of sets off all the action. So although he appears like a really dark, sullen individual. So villains were often depicted as bastards in Shakespeare's day. So this means to be born out of wedlock, which again, in modern times, it's not a big deal at all. But at that time, it was seen as being tainted with evil. So again, Don John is this shadowy, inconsequential figure who is this villain. Okay, he's a type rather than being anyone of importance. But without him, there is no story. Okay, so he's essential to the plot. We carry on, have a look at the other characters. We've got Leonato, who is the governor of Messina, where it takes place in his estate. Hero is his daughter. Hero is again a dutiful daughter. You'll see she I don't think she speaks really till Act 2. She has no independence, a fact made pointedly by Beatrice on more than one occasion. She has no autonomy within this society and moves, there's a mistake there, to her father's will. which this basically mean, again, if we reflect on what it was like at the time, women had no sort of control. She was being controlled by her father. Okay, she's given no lines until Act 2, which again shows how she is controlled by the men around her. So she will willingly do the bidding of her father. Beatrice, on the hand, is Leonato's niece. Now, so she doesn't have a father there to control her, and this is a kind of key thing, really, is that she has more freedom compared to Hero, who, again, look, we see this as the conventional romantic heroine. She's meek and she's mild, and she does what she's told. So Beatrice is there to directly contrast with Hero as a character, because of her independence and circumstance. She's highly articulate, and she uses her wit constantly to attack romantic love, and especially where it pertains to herself. So she's kind of, always joking. She right at the beginning, she talks about how she doesn't want to get married, and again, because of the way that she's so, clever and witty, she seems like a perfect match to Benedict, who we'll come to in a minute. So key term here, patriarchy, the social system in which the male is the primary authority figure central to social organisation, and where fathers hold authority over women, children and property. So again, we're just the play, reflecting the society at the time. Women had no control. Men, the fathers, they would decide who exactly their daughters would marry. And moving on here, we have Claudio. So he's the romantic hero of the play. He has won the regard and admiration of Don Pedro, which strengthens his position as a man worthy of respect. In the manner of a Shakespearean comedy, it's necessary for the romantic hero to undergo some challenge, which teaches him a lesson. Again, the whole story is about how him and Hero's relationship is threatened by Hero's honour being put into question, and sort of him finding out the truth and learning a lesson. Honour was essential at this time, and Claudio sees himself, he is regarded as a man of great honour because he's done so well in battle, etc. And that was a really key thing for men. Here we have Benedict. Again, he's another contrast to Claudio. His character offers a firm contrast. He's far from being the romantic lover. He talks about being a bachelor. He talks about how he doesn't want to be married. Again, before we even meet him, we have Beatrice talking about his reputation as being a bit of a ladies' man. And he is, the source of quite a lot of comedy. But Beatrice at the masked ball jokes about how he is the prince's fool, I think, which touch a bit of a nerve with Benedict. But he is, he's a lot of source of the comedy from this for the play, because of his sort of over the top language and what he's talking about, love, etc. Moving on, some of the other characters, we have Dogberry, who is the town constable, and again, he's a very comical figure. Townsperson constable would not have been a comical figure in actual society, but sort of his clumsiness and his inability to put across what he's seen, and his language, etc. Again, add to the misunderstandings and misgivings of what happens in the play. Margaret is the lady in waiting who is seen who mistaken for Hero with Borachio, and she's involved in this plot where Hero's good name is put to shame. The interesting thing here is, although she's the lady in waiting, she often seems to be on equal terms with a lot of the characters, but she kind of gives them a contrasting view on love compared to Hero, who's got this idealised sort of vision of how it should be. So linking these characters into the main themes here, we have trickery and deception. This is kind of the main premise of the play. The characters are tricked into falling in love. They're tricked into believing that Hero has done something wrong. Again, there's all this deception about Hero has died and she hasn't. So that's the really main theme. Self-deception and delusion. Again, the characters not being able to see what's in front of their face. The sort of misunderstandings of people's meanings. Even the use of, the masked ball, that's symbolism in itself, what it stands for, the using of masked disguise. Love and marriage. Again, this is a society where marriage was like a business contract. However, Shakespeare has purposely tried to put across that Claudio's intentions for marrying are for love. However, when Hero is actually accused of sleeping with someone before marriage, the first thing he talks about is his honour and how he has been put in, he has been put into question about marrying her. So although it is, essentially about their love between them, honour and in this sort of business contract is quite a significant thing. Status and honour, again, that's linking into what I've just been saying. The value of personal honour and pride is very important. Elizabethans lived in a world entrenched in order, and again, this is reflected in the sort of the hierarchy of each of the characters and where they stand. I just thought I'd show you the success criteria for a Band 5. So this is the controlled assessment that we'll be doing, but this is just to show you where this sort of knowledge of the characters and the background information into the context fits in. So you have to be able to think about the writer's idea. So if you could link in the idea that Shakespeare has purposely set up these two contrasting sets of lovers. We've got Claudio and Hero, who are the ideal romantic lovers, and we have Beatrice and Benedict, who they're very cynical, they're a bit older, and they've got a very different sort of approach to love. So they've been directly set up to contrast each other. We've also got to talk about the importance of context, so you can think about honour, hierarchy, social status, marriage, all of those things. And if you can link them in when you're talking about the characters, whatever your question is based on the play, that's an essential piece of knowledge. Okay, I hope this has helped. It's been nice, short and sweet. I'll try and put out some more information about language and structure, etc. But there you go, that's a brief summary on character. Thanks very much.